What's up, guys? Back with another Metal Mail Day. I got two packages, and I got my record store pickups. Of course, new release day. So we'll start with the packages. Actually, I'm not sure what these are, so it is a surprise. I don't know. Okay. All right, first up, we have Arsis, A Celebration of Guilt, which I believe was their debut album on Willow Tip Records. Death metal band. Another band that I slept on, admittedly. I've been kind of deep diving a little bit with with some death metal and some tech death. There's a lot of bands in that area that I had definitely slept on. So now I'm into finding the rest of their records. So that'll be a fun little journey, collecting these guys' discography. Arsis, A Celebration of Guilt. All right. Up next here. All right. Okay. All right. We got a classic old record from 1990. This is a first press. Prong. Beg to Differ. Now, I think I mentioned in a previous video that I've been doing some research on 80s and 90s bands. And I'm a huge new metal fan. I'm a new metal junkie. That's where I got my start. There was some of the 80s bands that I heard my dad listen to, like Def Leppard, Twisted Sister, Deep Purple, shit, Alice Cooper, shit like that. That's the first rock music, metal music that I heard. But new metal is what turned me into a metalhead. And I always, of course, Korn's self-titled record in 1994 was the quintessential new metal album. It is the start of new metal. Okay. But I always accredited two bands before Korn that were kind of proto new metal that Korn kind of took inspiration from and became what they became. And new metal obviously blew up to what it became in the late 90s into the mid 2000s. And those two bands were Faith No More and Helmet. To me, those two bands were proto new metal. They both of those bands were around before Korn and had a couple albums before Korn. But as I was going through some stuff, I found this record and gave it a listen, and my mind was blown. So I now consider this band And this record, at least, a third option for proto nu metal. If you listen to these riffs, these are nu metal riffs. These riffs were recycled over so many times, it's crazy. I dare you to just go listen to this record and just tell me that you don't hear nu metal. Prong, beg to differ. All right, next up with the record store. First, I only got one used. I got three new releases, and then two extra new releases that were like represses that I did not know were coming out. So for used, I got Wormhole, The Weakest Among Us. Lacerated Enemy Records. I always I I rarely get my hand on Lacerated Enemy stuff. I always find them to be a little pricey. Um, Released in 2020. This is like, with their last album, I definitely would categorize them as tech death. Um, but I thought this was a little bit more like, I mean, it's definitely tech death, but like the death, there's more death metal to them, but it's so low and like I don't even know how to describe it. Like the vocals are so deep and low and filthy, almost slam. Like and the drums, it's like it's almost like a mixture of tech death and slam. So I had to scoop this up, and this was actually $10 for used. They're usually way cheaper than that, but yeah, this was $10 used. Up next are the two represses that I got. Um, so I'm a big fan of Days Records. If any of you metalheads know, I'm sure you guys know about that label. It's um, a hardcore label. They have a ton of great bands. Um, and my record store, as of lately, I've noticed have been carrying a bit of Days stuff, but most of it's been vinyl. I've seen one or two CDs here and there, but I've actually purchased three or four Days records on vinyl from my record store when I found them. Um, but I noticed today for new release day, there was probably 5 different Days CDs there. Um, and if I had more money, I would have probably picked up the Bayway CD. But I had already spent almost $80 just on this order on this pickup. So I'm like, I'm done. Up first is Pain of Truth, No Blame, Just Facts, Deluxe Edition. I didn't care about this band when they first came out. I noticed they were catching some heat and getting some knock loose comparisons and stuff like that. Um, but now they're like a prominent fixture in the hardcore scene. Um, but it took me a little while to get into it. But um, by the time I got into it, I couldn't find this EP anywhere. Um, but this deluxe edition has the 5 initial tracks plus 3 more tracks that they singles that they had released um, over whatever the last 2 years or whatever. Blood on Your Hands, Scarred, and Snake in Disguise, plus the original 5 tracks. Pain of Truth, No Blame, Deluxe Facts. All right, the next one is also a Days release, a reissue. Shattered Realm, Broken Ties, Spoken Lies. I have one of their other albums. This was their debut album, which I thought was way too expensive on Discogs. I wanted to get this first before I got the second album, but it was way too expensive. Um, and the other record was super cheap, so I ended up buying that anyways. But now I got the first record, repressed by Days, originally released in 2002 on Alaverin Records. Um, oh, I didn't even know there was a second press. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Re-released September 13th, 2005 by Eulogy Records. I know about the Alverin Records, but however you say it. Huh. So this is a third press. Super dope. These guys go hard as shit. Shattered Realm. All right, up next are the 3 new releases, and up first, which I didn't see advertised for a CD release. I just saw vinyl. Same thing with Pure Noise Records seems to do that with some of their releases. They did it a couple weeks ago with Unity TX. I did not know they were doing CDs of that. Chamber, this is Goodbye. Chaotic, mathy, hardcore, just in your face. I've seen these guys live quite a few times, actually. Pure Noise Records. Up next, which is, I was hoping they were going to have a copy of both of these next ones, actually. These were the two that I went for that I was hoping they were going to have. First up is Mood Ring, Death Fetish. Sharp Tone Records. Hunter Young is an absolute genius. I discovered Mood Ring first with their last record, which I still have to find, but I think it's only on vinyl. I still have to get that record. But I know he got some health issues and kind of stopped Mood Ring and like stopped touring, and he started just like producing records and putting out music, and that's how we had the birth of Psycho Frame, which is one of the best deathcore bands in the scene right now. But he doesn't actually play in Psycho Frame, but he's the mastermind behind it all. So he brought Mood Ring back. I don't think they're going to be touring or doing shows or anything like that, and I'm completely fine with that. Hunter Young can just be a fucking bedroom producer and just release music all he wants because everything he touches is gold. Mood Ring, Death Fetish. And last but not least, kinda metal, kinda not metal, Don Broco, Nightmare Tripping. Fearless Records. I thought they were still on Sharptone, so I don't recall them posting about leaving Sharptone. But this is their Fearless Records. I still have to get a physical copy of their last record that was released on Sharptone. I have all the rest of their records. I have CD copies of all the rest of their records. This is just a fun band. That's just the only way to describe it. It's just, just fun. I mean, the title track song has Nickelback in it, and it goes hard as shit. Don Broco. I thought it was Don Brocco until I heard him pronounce it, the singer, Don Broco. Nightmare Trippin'. All right, well, that's it. Um, I'm almost out of mail coming, so I guess I better start ordering some stuff so we can have some more packages coming in. I think I only have 2 more on the way. Um, Still working on the new metal stuff, on how to play that out and how to do it, because I'm probably going to have to write like a kind of like a script or or notes, because it's going to be like big talking points. Um, I'm kind of a nerd with a lot of this stuff, so like I know a lot about a lot of this stuff, but I'm gonna need like probably some notes for some talking points. Um, so I got to work on getting all that together. So until next time, peace.